Here in Minnesota, Democrats currently enjoy a state legislative supermajority. So this means that they can actually do their job without having to entertain stupid performative politics, like debating stupid legislation on where kids are allowed to pee, or officially interpreting Fahrenheit 451 as an instruction manual. And this has allowed Minnesota to accomplish things like enshrining reproductive rights in our state constitution, and increase education funding, and make Minnesota a refuge for those seeking gender affirmation care. We're about to get a big infrastructure bill passed. We got free school lunches passed for all students, despite protests from Minnesota State Representative Steve Druskowski. I don't know, some fucking idiot who thinks that hungry children don't exist because he's never met one. That is literally what he said. So Minnesota State Republicans are about as relevant as a floppy disk in a Tesla. And that gives them lots of time to sit back and watch the Republicans in other states have all the fun. Like Montana Republicans passing a whole bunch of anti-trans bills and then shutting the mic off to the one elected trans person in Montana, not allowing her to speak because she makes them feel icky. And then banning TikTok. Yeah, the state of Montana banned TikTok, which seems strange to me. I didn't know Montana had the internet yet. Obviously, they haven't had it long enough for their legislators to know how the internet works because they've gotten a way to actually enforce a TikTok ban. But you know, when you hate freedom and you're trying to do everything you can to get rid of it, sometimes it's just the thought that counts. And then Republicans in South Carolina and Texas and Florida are outlawing abortion and then trying to make the penalty for getting an abortion execution, and then trying to make it so like you only need 8 jurors to sentence somebody to death. Because, you know, nothing says pro-life like fast-tracking state-sanctioned murder. And Republicans in Kansas made it legal to look down kids' pants if they want to play school sports. And Wisconsin Republicans are trying to figure out how to use their supermajority to impeach a duly elected Supreme Court judge before she ever gets to sit on the bench. I mean, they always have been great at not letting democracy get in the way of, well, anything. And then Tennessee just had a motion to get rid of their holiday that they currently have that honors KKK Grand Wizard Nathan Forrest Bedford. And Tennessee Republicans are like, but if we don't have holidays honoring Grand Wizards, how are we going to win the Racism Olympics? And then they actively made a decision to keep that holiday. And then Republicans in Texas and Missouri and South Carolina and Utah and Florida are all competing to see who can ban the most books. You know, when you're trying to do a fascism, you know, banning books is about the most on-the-nose first step you can take. Speaking of fascists, Tennessee, again, just passed a resolution to honor Viktor Orban's Danube Institute on how to do a fascism using Christianity. I may have ad-libbed that name a tad, but that's basically what it is. For those of you who don't know who Viktor Orban is, he's a real-life today in 2023 fascist running Hungary, and conservatives just love him. They just fucking love him. They invited him to talk at CPAC and all that shit. Yeah, they got a real big hard-on for Viktor Orban. And Tennessee Republicans looked at this institute, they're like, hey, this has got some really great pointers on how to do a fascism, and we could use some more of that here. So despite having absolutely no relevance to the state of Tennessee, we're going to waste our time passing a resolution to honor it because, you know, fascism. Then, you know, there's just Florida out there doing Florida, trying to pass laws so the state can kidnap trans kids from their parents and egregiously violate the First Amendment rights of Disney. If that wasn't shitting on the First Amendment and the Constitution enough, now they're trying to pass a bill that would force bloggers and content creators to register with the state of Florida if they want to talk or blog about elected officials in the state of Florida. I don't think you can get any more anti-freedom, anti-constitution, anti-free speech, anti-First Amendment, anti-American legislation than that. Also, if you support people like Ron DeFascist and his minions who are trying to pass this bullshit, and in many cases succeeding in passing this bullshit now, you should feel bad about how bad of a person you are. You know, if being a good 1930s German middle-class citizen is your life goal, you're doing great. But I personally hope you step on a Lego every day for all eternity. But sorry, I'm getting off point. My point was that, you know, Minnesota Republicans have been watching all the fascists in these other states get to have all the fun while they can't do anything. And they're feeling really left out, you know? And since Minnesota State Representative Matt Grossell is tired of feeling about as useful as tits on a bull, he's introduced the Rocks and Cows bill, which proposes that western border counties of Minnesota should be allowed to secede to North and South Dakota. Like a Great Value, South Carolina. This is the real-life legislative version of that guy in a Facebook group who gets triggered and then makes a post in that group saying, this group's stupid, I'm fucking leaving it. It's not a train station, you don't need to announce your departure. Like, they probably could have just done it and none of us would have even fucking noticed. We'd just be going on a road trip to Yellowstone or something one day, and we'd get to the new Welcome to North Dakota sign, and we'd just be like, man, I really thought we had another half hour to go before we got to North Dakota. We're making great time.
time.
And because our tax dollars wouldn't be having to support those communities anymore, we'd suddenly even have a bigger budget surplus than we already do, and we'd be trying to figure out where the money came from. Treasurer's just sitting there punching numbers into her calculator like, hey, governor, we had way less subsidy and welfare payments go out this year, and I can't figure out why. But now we can afford to buy all the books those other states are banning and add them to the library. Oh, wait, we already did that. Never mind. It's so fucking stupid. Anyway, that's what's going on here. Fucking counties trying to secede to the Dakotas.